just a second. Waiting for YouTube to figure out I've gone live so I can pull it up on my tablet. That way I can read chat and all that fun stuff. Make sure we get good audio. And we do. Or at least I can hear me. That's the important part. Nobody else wants to hear me anyway. Okay. Hey, Jody. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, you tell all those fools. Okay. So I'm just going to tie some rigs and run my mouth, which is what I'm really good at. Let's be honest about things. Okay. So as normal, we're going to use Suffix 80 pound. This is the Suffix Superior monofilament. It is superior to something. I don't know what, but it definitely is. And the Suffix Titanium Plus and 30 pound is what I'll be using for any sinker droppers, because the way my rigs are done is I have 40 pound mono coming down to the leader. Leader is 80 pound. And if my sinker gets stuck, I want to lose the sinker, not the whole rig. You got your hooks. That's awesome. I want to see them. I want to see them. I want to try them out. I want to taste them. I want to see if they, are as yummy as you say they are. So I'm excited about that. Jody is well, I'm not going to talk about it. I'll let you talk about it because I may have information that you don't want shared. Yeah, so there we go. And I get these baggies off of Amazon. They're 4 mil, I think they're 3x5. And what I do is I write on them. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I have the weight of the line, size of the hook, what kind of rig it is. This is BW bottom weight because I couldn't come up with anything better. And I have O, that is for an offset hook, or I'll have an S for saltwater, which means that it's an inline hook. It's my own system. I realize it's kind of goofy. What I have to figure out is, there we go, get my board a little better in the background. Send me your address. How have I not ever sent you my address already? Just saying. Oh, anyway. That's just me being a smart aleck. Okay, so I think what I want to do today is I want to do some mortician's rigs. And so to start that off, I'll show you what my bottom weight rig looks like. So it comes out a little baggy, and then of course you have to do a little bit. So it's swivel at the top, down to a circle hook, and then I switch over to a lighter line so I can put my sinker on the bottom. And the downside to this style rig is that the hook is right next to the leader itself. It doesn't jet off of there. I'm sure everybody has seen at some point one of those crappie rigs that has the big metal T in it. Don't buy those. They're ridiculous because there's a whole lot of metal in the middle of a rig. Anyway, so that being said, so there are a couple of options if you want to have the leader, the main leader here, and then have some offshoots for the hooks. One is to use the T-knot, which is what they use in pompano rigs, and I've seen it used in Kentucky rigs and other things. The problem is that knot is not strong. It's fairly weak. If I'm going to do something like that, where I'm going to have a doubled off line from the side, I would rather use a triple surgeon's knot, which is basically you double it over, fold it over itself, and then you go through 3 times with the end. But the downside of that is at the end you're still left with this, a loop. And if you're going to snell on a circle hook, that doesn't really work out so well. So there's that. So the mortician's rig is a really cool idea. And I've done some testing on it. It tests out pretty decent as far as strength goes. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our swivel, and I'm a big fan of the trilene knot for monofilament. It just seems to hold really well. It's got some good strength to it. I've tested it with my pull tester, and it really has a lot of good strength to it. So it's stronger, or as strong, a little bit stronger, I think, than the Palomar knot. But the Palomar knot can be squirrely. Like every fourth or fifth just isn't, not with Palomar, it's just not that strong for whatever reason. So we pull that good and tight. Okay. And we figure out how long we want this to be. That's about good length. So yeah, I'm just making this up as I go along. Snip. Yeah. So I can add a co-slot snap to the end of my leg, and hopefully that will give way before my 40-pound mono does. But I would rather just join in some of this Suffix 30-pound mono. So let's start with how the mortician rig works. We're just going to tie an overhand knot. And I mean, that's all it is. It's an overhand knot. And yes, this does weaken the line some, not horribly. Hey, Scotty, thanks for coming in. So we've got our swivel down to a single overhand knot. And next to this overhand knot, we are going to add another overhand knot. And it can be really close to it. That's less than an inch. So that's going to be where my first dropper comes off. Then I'm going to go down, I don't know, 10, 11 inches, somewhere in there. Tie another overhand knot, and then one more overhand knot next to it. This is going to be for my second dropper. Okay, so again, the bottom of it's going to in some way have the sinker on it. So the goal here is that if I'm going to lose something, I want to lose the sinker, the hook, the sinker or the hook, whatever is snagged. So we got our 80-pound here. Let's see what we've got over in the Love Shack over here. I will go with 40-pound. Rather use 60-pound, but I don't see it right off the top of my head. That's not it. That's not it. Is that it? Nope, that's definitely not it. What about that? That's 20. That's not going to be any better. No, that's 100. We don't want to do that. And that's 40 as well. So, anyway, so I don't have my 60 right here. So I'll use 40 for this demonstration. So this is just going to be as simple as, I don't know, that much line. Measure it out roughly. That's like 21 inches. I'm not going to use it all, but it's to give you an idea where we're starting at. So grab a circle hook, go through the front of the hook. We're going to do an egg loop knot. So we're going to do the starting of a no knot snell 7, 8 times. Then we're going to just kind of pinch the line between these two fingers and run about an inch or two through the front, or from the back out the front of the hook. Now we hold all that in place. And then this piece was the part that we've already wrapped. We're just going to wrap it 4 more times. And okay, so we hold all this off. Kind of keeps the pressure on it, and we pull it up. And that gives us, ooh, sunshine, you look cute. Pull it tight, and what it does is better than the no knot snell, because as it loosens up, it can't undo itself. For anyone who is interested, Ashley did a 10K marathon run, whatever it's called, a 10K run this morning, trail run. She got 3rd place for her age group. So I'm impressed. Yeah. So now we just kind of decide how long we actually want the leader to be, and I don't know, that looks good. So what I'm going to do is we talked about that triple surgeon's knot, so we just create a loop and basically run that loop through as an overhand knot 3 times. And what I've found is 3 is kind of the sweet spot for that. And you can make this loop pretty darn small if you want to. And you do want to make it small. Okay. So we give that a good tug. And we snip off our tag in here. And one of the other good features about the egg loop knot is you can cut this tag in really short too. Okay. So again, we're back to our main line of the mortician's rig. We go between these 2 knots, the two knots that are close to each other. We run the hook right through that triple surgeon's loop that we just made. And that gives us a cow hitch knot. Now, the benefits of this is you now have an offset. It's free from the leader. So in theory, the fish might not feel the leader quite as quickly. And you don't need a swivel because it can spin around. And you might go, well, that's just a knot, Mike. That's not going to hold it. Okay. It broke the 40-pound mono. Not exactly sure where it flew off to. Nope. I'm sure I'll find it with my foot later. So, yeah, it's strong. And you can see here the knot did slip down a little bit, and you could do like a double twist in there, like a surgeon's knot as opposed to a surgeon's loop. Hey, yaks. But I really like this rig, and I'm doing some more experimenting with it. I definitely do want to do that double to try to keep it from sliding down, because what happened, remember these knots were closer together, it did slide down some. So there's still some testing I've got to do with this, but I really, really, really like the idea behind the mortician's rig. So because I've already skimmed this one down, and we won't do that again, go ahead and send it into the trash, because I don't want something that's already been damaged in any way. So that's the mortician's rig, and that is something that I'm very interested in getting more experience with. Because we do want to, if you have the bent eye hook, see where the eye bends backward, it's not as important that the knot be a good snell knot. And of course, if you've got the doubled over line like this, you can run it through the front of the hook, doubled over, and then you can twist it one way, go around, twist, and do it again, and then twist again, and come up with something kind of like that. But you still run into a lot of the downsides of all of the other snell knots, and that is that your line is right up against the connection where the wire from when it makes the eye is bent over, and that is a sharp point. And there are ways around that as well. You can like put a piece of shrink wrap on there or something like that. But as far as rigs you can make on the water, I don't like that method of snelling. And I'm probably, there's no question, there's no probably, I'm overcomplicating things. I'm good at that. Anyway, so I was talking about just doing double overhand knot like this. That's going to add a little bit more weakness here. Hey, Bob and Doreen, thanks for joining in. But again, we're using 80-pound leader, and we're going to use, typically I would use a 60-pound snood, or whatever you want to call those things. So let me do those 2 double knots, and I'm not having the luck I was wanting to have with this. Put them too close together and didn't get the first knot out of the second knot. So, up here into it. And then we can slide. Just kind of slide that knot, work it down towards the other one. And again, if you have too much space in here, or more space, it doesn't matter. That's going to be, what is that? Almost 1.5 inch difference. Okay. So let's do the same thing again. Grab that piece of 40-pound mono. Grab us another hook. And this time I'll just do the no knot snell because this is not meant to last. No knot snell. Come up here and do a triple surgeon's loop. And again, we'll push that up so it's not very large. And snip off most of that tag end. And then here we are again. So we'll do the same thing. We'll just run the hook through that loop we just created, that triple surgeon's loop. And pull the knot through it so that we have a cow hitch knot in there. Okay. And pull it tight. Let's see if we can make this one slide or not. That is not sliding. Okay. I mean, I didn't break, but I pulled really hard into a way to be hand hurt. You see, I just can't make it better. I didn't think so. And again, now once you get that much tension on it, it will slide up to the knot, and it's not going to come around quite as easy. But you can loosen up the cow hitch just a little bit and get it back to where it runs around, so you don't need that swivel. So what you're doing here is you're creating a rig that gives you less hardware, gives you a double dropper loop, and gives you the ability to put the sinker on the bottom. And all of this becomes important because if you've ever tried to cast a heavy sinker and a big piece of bait, what happens if you're using a sinker slide or a Carolina rig? So you get that torque going, and what happens is there's a few different things. You can get the helicoptering in the air, which slows things down. You can get the lead flying way past the bait. So what that does, you may get a lot of line out of there, but your sinker's going to land here, you're over here, and your bait's going to land here. So you've got a ton of slack in your line between getting the sinker up against the swivel for the leader to the hook. And so if you're bank fishing, you want to have a tight line, right? Or anytime you want to have a tight line, right? Otherwise, you don't know what's happening down there. So as you pull that back in, you're reeling in so much line that has come off the reel to pull that bait up next to the sinker again. And sometimes it can go the other way where your bait, if it's considerably heavier than a sinker, it can go further out and then your lead lands closer, and again, you're pulling it right back in. So all those fun things. Hey, Fat Cat, welcome in, my friend. Welcome in, welcome in. So again, I'm real interested in playing around with the Mortician's rig. In lighter pound test, the single knot's not a big issue, but like I said, we're using 80-pound mono. So there's that. And 40-pound is not really what we want to use for the snoods or droppers or whatever these things are called. Depends on where you're at, I think. The UK people call these things snoods, and I think snoods is such a pretty word. It sounds like something out of a Dr. Seuss book. But anyway. So I haven't really done anything with this, so let me just trim that off. Toss it in trash. So, again, I'm sponsored by nobody. I get nothing for free. I have no discount codes at this point. Maybe someday. Not today. So anything I tell you about is absolutely, it's what I use. And it's what I paid my money for. Hey, Cindy. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. So if I tell you something, if I tell you I like something, there is no ulterior motive. I mean, even if you just get something for free for a unbiased review, you can call it an unbiased review, right? But unless it's absolute garbage, your standard YouTuber is going to go, okay, I want to get more free products, so I have to give it a good review. I have to point out all of the pros and very few or none of the cons. That is the great Skipjack Cindy. Hey, Andy, how you doing, my friend? Fishing Hoosier has made it to the crib. Wow, I don't know how to edit that out. That was stupid. I'm sorry, Andy. I'm sorry to everybody I had to listen to that. Anyway, here, let me adjust me a little bit and adjust that a little bit. Okay. Anyway, so the other thing that I like to make, three-way swivel brakes. Hey, H. Lee Osborne. And this particular company, they make it where it's two different size swivels. So your main swivel is the big one, and this one's just a little smaller. So I always want to take my sinker and put it on the lighter of the two, because I want the strongest connection I can get between my main line and my hook. So put my 40-pound back over here because I don't need it right now. And the reason, for anybody that doesn't already know this, the reason I make leaders up ahead of time and put them in little baggies, is if I break off, I've got another one ready to go. I don't have to tie all these knots on the water. Tie one simple tri-lane knot to the swivel on the leader, and I'm back out and ready to go. Okay, so I am wasteful when it comes to mono. I haven't figured out the perfect length for these yet, so bear with me as I use too much. So let's see. I'm going to start off with right around 8 inches. No comments. Let's see how that works for us. See, that just seems so short, especially once you tie your knot. So after 9 wraps, I've got 2 inches left. Again, no comments. So that ain't gonna work. That's why I always have too long, because I don't want to be too short. I'm setting myself up. So here's something I can tell everyone, and this applies very specifically, or very much to Cindy, but it applies to all of us. And that is, would you rather watch a tree go or a yell? So what you can do is you can go into YouTube under, I think it's community moderation or whatever, and blocked words. And I put in knee, followed by the word grow, as one of the blocked words. So that should never show up in my chat again. So anybody that's having problems with those, I don't know. It amazes me the number of children that come in using that exact phrase. I don't get it. It's stupid. It's juvenile. And as far as people who should understand stupid and juvenile, I am on that list. I'm probably at the top of the damn list. Anyway, be that as it may. Why don't I have more hooks up here? Oh, there's my hook pile, which means my baggie of hooks is right here. I think these are probably Uncle Lou hooks. I don't remember, because I've also bought some off Temu, but and Uncle Lou doesn't sell hooks anymore, unfortunately. But so let's see, what did I start off with here? Just so we've got a good idea. This says it's about 16 inches. So start our knot here. Go around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's overkill. I know it. I don't care. Hey, Adventure America, how you doing, Troy? How's Angela doing? And again, so I just kind of like pull the back off here and run tag in through there and hold this new tag end, or the bottom end, and the original tag end together. And I go around 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just kind of keep some tension as I pull it up. And there we go. So now I've got this on here. Another thing, we're going to tie this onto our swivel. Another thing I like about the trilene knot is you can slide it down when you're making it. So you want to have a good amount of tag end. So you go through, you create one loop, and then you go back through the eye and create another. So then you go around 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. We need to slide some of this down. Okay, so there we go. That. And this is why I use too much mono, because this is ridiculously, I don't have this much dexterity, people. And we got our 5 twists, we go through there. And then whichever end you pull is one that's going to slide. So this way you can still have a decent amount of leader out of this, or lead, or whatever. So pull those tight. If it doesn't seat all the way down, because the 80-pound mono is a little rough to work with, use your fingertips and pull it up, and then give it one more good pull. And I guarantee you, if you're not breaking your line when you tighten it up, you're not using enough strength. I thought I was till I started using that pull tester, and it was amazing to watch how much more these knots tightened, even when I'm doing stuff like this. So there we are. And then what I like to do when I make these egg loop knots, or even a regular no knot snell, is grab it and kind of pull it back towards the back of the hook again. That's stupidity on my part more than anything. I like to think that, when the fish bites it, that he might get poked by that and go, ooh, no. They're eating stuff with bones in it. I mean, they're going to get poked, right? Hey, Bricoptic. Use the second knot I did, the trilene knot. I do like the trilene knot a lot. Oh, what's happening with Yak? Oh, there we are. I wish hiring an electrician's boat wasn't so expensive in my work. Oh, it's like a joke. Well, yeah, I understand. Boat mechanics are ridiculously expensive. Everything's ridiculously expensive, let's be honest with you, except the work I do. That is so underpriced. But yeah, one good thing that you can do on all your connections, if you're using like spade connections and stuff, is use dielectric grease, which allows current to go through it, but it keeps things from corroding. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, southeast Ohio ain't that far from where Yak is. Yak's over in East Tennessee somewhere. Oh, I don't know. I'm not good with geography. It's closer than I am. How's that? So that gives us the one leg of our three-way rig. So the general consensus from people that are smarter than me, which is pretty much everybody, is you want about double the length of your hook leader to go to your sinker. Again, I'm using 30-pound copolymer. I'm using it because I don't like the line. I don't want to use it for anything else. And I want a line that's going to be able to break easily enough. Because, again, if my sinker gets hooked up on the bottom, if I didn't have a lighter line here, what's going to break is my main line. Because my leader is 80 pound, right? So there's my triple surgeon's loop so that I can slap my sinker on there. You can use this snap swivel or whatever you want to do. I use it this way so that I can change my sinker quickly and easily. And if I had one here, I'd show you how that works, which means that the one I did have up here is, oh, there's, look, Daddy. Wait, that didn't sound right. Okay, so take the sinker slide off here. Come on. So you just take the loop, stick it through the sinker, and then put the sinker through the loop. And that gives you a cow hitch knot, which you can then push back through. And if you have problems where these get too tight and you aren't able to grab hold of it, what you can do is after you've done this, at the very tip, you just do a single overhand little loop like that. Okay? Then what we do is we put that through here, and then this bigger gap in the middle, that is where the sinker goes through to create that cow's hitch again, right? And you pull it all the way down, and you got this little tag sitting here. You can just, and there you go. Okay, so there's a dropper. I need is the one I was rigging on before. And I'm going to go ahead and just do a tri-lean knot here. There are a lot of different knots you can use. The Palomar knot is highly regarded, and I'm talking about mono at this point. Mono specifically. In theory, you're supposed to use a special knot for fluorocarbon, whatever. Fluorocarbon sucks. Anyway, so you could use an improved clinch knot or whatever, because this is one of those that you don't care if it comes loose, right? So yeah, it was started off about twice the length. It's not there anymore. Oh well. Now, one of the benefits of a rig like this is your sinker and your bait are very close to each other. So as you cast out, you're not going to get that big horizontal helicopter move. And basically, I don't know how much this really matters. So your weight's down here, right? So at the very best, in this case, I'm 2 inches. My bait's going to be 2 inches from the bottom. And then if there's any current, then that's going to pull it out some. Or of course, if you use a float and want to use like a Santee Cooper style type rig. So this works. This is a good rig for dragging, a good rig for bumping, a good rig for anchor fishing. Anyway, and again, you might want your sinker leader to be a little longer. That's up to you. So I'll go ahead and find my Sharpie. And so we got 80 pound. I think I'm calling those 10-aught hooks. I don't know what size they are. Pretty big. And those are going to be 3-way. And that is an offset hook. So there's my marking on here. And just take it from the swivel at the top of the rig, put it in here. I don't put my sinkers in here And of course, I don't need a sinker slide, and I don't need a bead or all that kind of stuff to protect the knot because there's no sinker slide. The sinker is all at the bottom. So I just kind of put it in there. And if you've ever, do I still have, no, I'll put them all. Yeah, if you, if you've ever pulled this up when you've tied a bunch of rigs, you know exactly where I'm coming from and why you want to put them in individual bags. Let's see here. Let me make sure that I haven't missed any messages because YouTube likes to forget that I'm here. Nope, everybody's still here. Appreciate you. Got 10 of you in here and 18 thumbs up. I appreciate it. I know these can be boring, and I appreciate that they can be boring. I do these because I need watch hours. And hopefully somebody learns something in the process, and we can hang out and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. That's kind of what this is for. We can hang out, we can discuss kind of any topic within reason. Try to keep religion and politics and racism out of it, but you know, within reason we could talk about what's going on in the world or love life problems or any of that. And if Ashley pulls up here with some love life problems, I'm going to be in trouble because I don't know how to fix those. I think everything's awesome because, you know, because me, right? So I'm going to tie some more of these up. That's frustrating. You see at the top swivel where they bent that metal over. They didn't do a very good job. I realize it's done my machine. Sometimes this stuff gets through. These things are not overly inexpensive. And they're doing 2.5 wraps everywhere. That looks fine. I just want to... These are my crimping pliers. Let's see if I can... Just want to bend that in a little bit. Nah, I didn't do it. Yeah. I'm going to throw this to the side. I'll deal with it another time. I don't want those sharp edges poking out because that can cost you a fish. Sharp point can rub against your line at the wrong spot and make things bad. I'm over 37 and a half, or over 3750 hours right now. Trying desperately to get to that 4,000. And then the reason for the big push right now is I'm going to have some hours that start expiring very soon because during 4th of July weekend last year, we were down in Pensacola and I got some decent watch time while I was down there, and that is going to fall off. And of course, YouTube's a few days behind in giving you credit for hours. They drive me nuts when you look in one section. It tells you your hours are this. Well, your verified eligible for earnings watch hours is this. And I'm like, you hit that 4,000 mark on the one side. And you're like, hey, I'm there, and then you're like, no, I'm not. Nope, I am not. So. And again, if I make this too long, I don't care, because what I'm going to do is kind of come to where I want the leader to be. I'll make my trilene knot. So you have your loop there, and then this forms the second one. You go around 5 times. And I don't know if you have to go around 5 times on line this thick. I don't care. It doesn't hurt, and that's the important part. Okay, so let's kind of tighten this guy down. I'll pull in from the tag end, and that gives us that much. Kind of pull the knot down, get a little more tugging. And I'll leave a little extra on the tag end because, like I say, I know this is going to tighten down some, and I don't want it slipping through. Come back here and grab my 30 pound and make it that long. And you can do a double surgeon's loop on these actually, because again, we don't care if this knot is not super strong. If you're pulling more than 20 pounds of weight on this, on the sinker, you want that to break. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, I would suggest doing so, not because you're going to learn anything, but because it makes me happy. But actually, I released a video today on YT Create. And I've talked about it in several of my videos, but it actually shows how to use it to some degree. I am not a video maker whiz. So there's a lot that can be done with it that I can kind of show you how the functions work. I am not creative enough to show you how to make the most fantastic video out of it. But for running off your phone, it's solid. It is solid. And I think CapCut you can run from your phone, but I also think CapCut will either put a watermark on there or you can only use it so many times. I don't remember what it is. There were reasons I didn't like CapCut. And YT Create is made by YouTube, so Google, I guess. And it's free. I think it currently is still in beta in theory, but it works really well. And something I found out today, I tested just to see if it would work. You can plug a mouse in your phone. I actually used a hub that also has a HDMI output, and so I had my phone mirrored on my 27-inch monitor with a mouse, so when I was doing the clicks and stuff, you could see where I was clicking. I thought that was awesome. There are some things that you can't do because you need the pinchy stuff, but you can do that on the phone screen while you're playing with the mouse if you need to. Thought it was cool. Thought I'd share. So I think a 12-minute video, and hopefully it can give you some inspiration, and more importantly, just it lowers the cost of entry into getting into YouTube. You've got everybody wants to make a channel, or a lot of people want to make a channel, right? I don't begrudge them. I invite them in, have a great time. But so, you got a teenage kid that wants to get into YouTube. Well, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. Let me help you out. You got a cell phone? Your cell phone has a good camera on it. You shoot at least 1080p, if not 4K. That gives you an editor on your phone, so you can upload it. So you're out nothing at this point. And there's no extra cost other than the phone your kid probably already has, right? Connect to Wi-Fi, upload your videos, do all that. Now, that's not going to make production, movie level videos, but they're going to make everything I make. They're going to be fine for most people. The downside is the size of the screen. Like I said, you can get this little, I don't know, $20 adapter, I think is, come here, sunshine. It was about 20 bucks. So there's my mouse USB, plugs into the USB-C on the phone. Get the video out. So anyway, then if you are going to spend money on anything past that, the first thing I would spend money on is going to be a microphone. I love the DJI Mic Mini. It says it can do Bluetooth, and it does do Bluetooth to certain devices, but it doesn't work on my phone with Bluetooth. I can connect to it, it just doesn't give me any audio. Sad story, isn't it? I know, I cried for days. So I tell you that to say, if you're going to buy it, you can get I think it's $69.99. We'll get you the receiver and the transmitter. So the mic is a transmitter, and then the receiver plugs into the USB-C port on your phone. If you have a Mac, or an iPhone rather, They have the connector for iPhone. I think it's another $20 in addition. You can't kind of bundle it that way. And that doesn't get you the cute case, with the battery in it and everything. But when you charge these things, you can charge it. It's like 10 or 11 hours of usefulness out of it. And with the case, of course, you get when you buy the set with the case, you get the second transmitter, microphone, all that. But with the single, you get the little bitty dock that these microphones go in, and then of course you plug into the USB-C on the receiver to charge it. So there you go. You can obviously get less expensive microphones as well. So just thoughts on those kind of things. Then when you're looking at thumbnails, Canva, C-A-N-V-A, you can get it as an application or you can do it on the web. There's a lot of features that are templates and things like that are pro, which means you have to pay for it. But the free, you can make thumbnails. There's an app within it. If you try to use the background remover that's in Canva automatically, that one is a pro feature, but you go into apps and you can go find, I think it's BG Remover or something like that, and it'll remove background from a lot of your photos. So if you like if I took a picture of this sitting on a black background and all I want is this, I could use the BG Remover and it just magically remove it. And then of course, AI is a thing. You can use ChatGPT to help inspire some ideas or such. You can go to the AI music applications, and what's really good about those sites is the courts have said that AI generated music is not copyrightable, so they can't do anything if you use it and don't pay for it because it's not copyrighted. Neat, huh? Anyway, let's see what else can we talk about that sounds like fun. Nothing. Back to tying some rigs. Like I say, if y'all have topics you want to discuss, let's go for it. Snip off a section of this. And we'll just tie some more rigs. I hate aiming down at my big fat belly, but y'all may want to actually see what I'm doing down here. Again, whoops, need to go ahead and start off with the snell knot. Now, I use 80-pound for these big hooks. You do not need 80-pound mono if you're going after smaller fish. And I do go after smaller fish. Like if I go to the local park ponds and such where it's just going to be channel cats, then, I'll use 20-pound main line and, 30 or 40-pound leader because there's no need to go crazy. And that one actually flipped over the tag ends. Let me pop the tag in back through that one piece here. Thinking about coming up, doing a video of things I hate about live chats. One is nobody talking, so y'all can fix that real quick if you want. And if any of you have a spare device laying around or whatever, and you want to play my live stream playlist overnight to give me some watch hours, I would not be upset with you at all. I am doing my best. Well, my best would be getting out of bed early enough, going fishing and doing that, but I haven't done that yet. It's hot, people. It's so hot out there. I'm sad. I'm going to melt. So I'm trying really hard to get over that 4,000 hour hump. I wish YouTube didn't make things as unfun as they do, but yeah, it is what it is. So I'm really trying to make this leader as pretty close to as short as I can. And how did I do this time? I got 5 inches. I can't believe, Cindy, are you still here? I can't believe she didn't tell me to do salt shaker. Ooh, and that's nice because I had left a bit longer of that leader. Where are we at here? Let's see if that'll focus. It probably won't. I think I've got it to where it won't focus. But when I pulled that super tight, some of that leader came through. Some of that tag in shortened, I should say. So now after I've actually given it a good pull, wow. It's almost 6 inches. Wow. So there was that much, almost an inch of play in there with knots. And a little bit of slipping that it did at the end. So, there you go. Now I talk about, how I, like on that Mortician's rig, about, how you don't have all that extra hardware on there. And it's kind of funny because I don't know. I do know. I probably shouldn't say it that way, but anyway. Do you remember when we also used to use just sinkers and hooks? We didn't need floats and floats that rattle and rattles that rattle and 15 different colored beads and all that stuff. Now, I'm not saying that they will catch you fewer fish. I'm just not sure that any of that's going to catch you more fish. I think that's stuff that was created to catch the fisherman, not necessarily the fish. I can see where noise in the water is going to be, it can be helpful. But the problem I have with all of that stuff, so let's say that this is your rattling Zara spook. Great, it makes noise when you rattle it. It makes noise when you cast it. But when it's sitting on the bottom, not really doing anything, you think that's making a rattling noise? You think it's making much noise, if any? I don't. And especially in calm water. Hey, Lisa Elliott, how you doing? Especially if you're like fishing a lake that it does not have a lot of current in it. Nothing's happening down there, people. Why are we paying money for that? I know why, because they are marketing to the fishermen. But a lot of that, I say, save your money. And, if you want all that colorful stuff for your own, I actually read a post on Reddit today. The guy was talking about, if color of braid doesn't matter, so assuming that color of braid doesn't matter, what color line should I get for this rod and reel combination? And I was like, I've read stupid stuff. That's kind of stupid. Of course, I think matching your rod to your reel is not important. That being said, and I've said this before, when I first saw the Uncle Lou rods in their big bright orange, and I'm like, I don't want an orange rod, that looks silly. And then I watch people use them on YouTube, and they show up so nicely. Throw a black light on there, they show up really awesome at night. Same goes true for amble rods or any of these that use the fluorescent paint on them. So, given the choice of a black rod or an orange rod, I'm going to go with orange or chartreuse or something every time. Hey, Troy. How's Sydney, Australia is treating you today? And, hey, Fishy Fingers Jackson. So, and I love Ashley to death, and I understand where she's coming from. You know, she's like, I don't know, I think we saw a purple rod somewhere, and she's like, "Ooh, I like purple." I'm like, "Yeah, you do. Purple's pretty. I get it." But as guys, we're not fashion conscious, or as I'm not. So what color line do I need for a reel for just personal aesthetics? I yeah. It was pretty. And I mean, not as pretty as you, and nothing ever will be. But, most guys are like, or most guys used to be, you know, again, we're not fashionistas. We respect that you guys are, but, it's gotten to where there are companies out there, Mad Cats, and I pick on them, or I mention them a lot, and maybe not the most positive manner. Now, don't get me wrong, I've never had a Mad Cat's rod. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I don't think they're bad rods. I don't think that it's inferior. I'm surprised that they were able to do what they've done, which is to stay afloat, because they have so many different SKUs. It's the same rod, in many cases. Like they may have 15 colors of the same dead gum rod. And that's a lot of inventory to have to carry, to have all these different colors. And that can hurt a business to have too many SKUs, especially when essentially it's the exact same product in a different, it is exactly the same product in a different color. And then, Ancient Mariner has come out with a bunch of reels that are all have all the colors. I mean, it's the same reel. It's just, what color do you want it in? And I guess I'm a function over form kind of guy. Again, doesn't make them bad products. I've never used an Ancient Mariner. I can't comment on them as far as quality. But that's not a selling point to me. I need a blue rod and a blue reel. I don't know. Anyway, that's just me. And I look at Catch the Fever. I think they're the ones that did the $10,000 if you catch a state record on their rod. And if you catch a state record and you aren't using one of their rods when you did it, you feel pretty stupid. But do you know how often a state record catfish is caught? Not that often. So yes, they've had to pay out multiple times. And but should you pay more for a rod so that you can be in on the, I call it a big fish lottery? I don't know. That's, I guess, it's not my monkey, not my circus. It's up to you. And like Mad Catz has or had, I don't know which, some sort of weekly big fish prize thing. But again, had to be cut on their rod. I think you had to be wearing a piece of their apparel as well. And I think those gimmicks can hurt other companies. It does give these companies a competitive edge in the marketplace. People think, well, what if I do catch the next world record? And I promise you, catch the next world record, you ain't worried about 10 grand. You're gonna get sponsorships coming out of your earlobes. But yeah, I understand why people would want to do that. I remember Steve Douglas actually thought he had caught a state record, and he did a video on it. I'm not giving away secrets. But because he he was in a river that spanned 2 states, and they didn't care where on the river he caught the fish. It was where he landed the boat. And so he was, you know, fishing one state's waters, but launched in a different state. And they're like, well, you don't have a fishing license in this state. So technically, oh no, sorry. Let me back up. And I think the story was, so either state's license would work on that river. So it was. And he caught it within state B's waters, you know, wherever the state line is, he caught it on that side. But he landed in, he launched and he pulled out of state B's ramp. And they're like, well, because you brought it on our shore as opposed to the other shore, and you don't have a license in this state. Anyway, I forget, but it's weird. It was a weird situation, and I'm not telling it right, so I'll stop telling. Well, if you had it muted, you're probably smarter than anybody else in this chat. Let me tilt that up just a little bit because I don't need as much fat angle as I can get. Talking about stuff doesn't matter. I'm talking about rods and reels and colors and promos and stuff like that. And I don't have the rod with me here. But so I've talked previously about FibLink, FIBLINK rods. Not sponsored, no affiliation. And I've got that one. No, that's a pin rod. I've got some of their surf rods. And because they're spinning rods, the number of eyes isn't that important. But I have one of their 8.5 foot Catfish casting rods. And there you are, Hoosier. Now you're pretty enough. But I had it next to an Uncle Lou's rod and next to a anvil rod. And the anvil and the Uncle Lou's, I believe, both have 11 eyes, counting the tip. The FibLink had 9, counting the tip. And it's a foot longer. And my goal when I was doing it, I got the caliper out and I measured the Uncle Lou's rod at this far from the tip and it from the tip. And to me, they're about the same diameter, very similar blanks, although one's a foot longer at the butt end, right? You know, well, a foot longer total, but your taper is not cut at the top. It's cut anyway. So, but because it's casting rod and it only has 9 eyes, you know, when you pull from the tip down, the line was touching in between eyes in a few places on the rod. And if you're using braid, for instance, you know that rubs. You're reeling in a fish under pressure, and you're rubbing that braid up against the finish on the rod, and eventually it can cause problems. If I caught more big fish, it'd be a bigger issue for me, but whatever. That was frustrating. That, you know, if they spent $1.50, $2 more, put 2 more eyes on there, they wouldn't have had that problem. And like I say, I like FibLink rods, especially when these rods are maybe $50. Have the aluminum reel seat, have the multicolor rear handle, similar to what a Mad Catz looks like. I'm not saying they're the same stuff. I don't know. And they're 8.5 foot 2-piece. 2-piece was really what I was going after. Because if you have a boat, 1-piece rods are great. But if you're putting them in your truck, especially now that everything is pretty much a crew cab and has a 5.5 foot bed, your 7 foot rods will barely fit diagonally. Your 7.5s will not. So I like a 2-piece rod for carrying around in the vehicles. If you're going on a trip, it makes it a lot easier. Whole 9 yards. And, you know, 30, 40 years ago, no, your 2-piece rods were not as strong as your 1-piece. And yes, if you have a two-piece rod, the bend where the ferrule is not going to be the same as if it was a single piece. So there are pros to having a one-piece rod, but packability is not one of them. So I was kind of thinking, I'd talk about the Fib Lake rod and what a great rod it was for traveling, because you get that extra foot if you're casting from the bank. You got, extra casting distance. But boy, I wish they'd just put another couple eyes on there. Oh, well, not my monkey, not my circus. So it's almost 10 after 6. Ashley and I are going to be going to dinner tonight. I don't know if she's back yet. She hasn't said. I haven't heard her. And when she gets back, she's coming from the gym, so she's going to need a shower anyway. So we'll probably let this run another 20, 30 minutes. Let's see. Make another 3-way rig here. And do I have them here? Yes. So, I don't have my bait binder in here, but, like the bait binders, the worm binders that bass fishermen use, you can use those to put all of these in. I tend to take the ones that are the same type, and I'll put them in either a quart or a gallon Ziploc bag, so I can keep them all together and mark it on the outside. But you can also use these pencil towels. The problem is they're made for 3-ring binders, and most of your bait binders are 2-ring, so they don't really fit real well. So what I did is took some steel leader material, cut 3 pieces the exact same length, and put on the crimps, ran it one way and out the other, and so there are my binders. So these are nice. Now, what you don't get from these, and then you could use binder rings, like the split keychains. You could use those to do this. That way you can separate them as you need to. So you grab, if you're only going to be using certain type one day, you can go, well, here we go. I'm just going to use these. Let's see, 3-way. And you can separate them that way. You can't with this method, and that's the difference. And now you know. And knowing is half the battle, and all that stuff. So like here's a bunch of 10-aught, 80-pound 3-way offset rigs. Just slap them in this pencil pouch. Zip it closed. Have this out on the boat with me, or put it in my little 5-gallon bucket when I go somewhere. And if I need one, I just pop it out of here, take it out of the Ziploc bag, put the little Ziploc bag back in here, or in another empty one, so you know what you've used that day, and you can come back and you can refill your stash. Because how many of these do you actually need? That's a topic for any day other than today. I have too many, and I make more. But a lot of it is, and the downside of doing it this way, making them ahead of time, is you do something and then you're like, ooh, I'm going to do it this way instead. And you get all your hooks and your stuff and swivels and such already tied up. So, you end up with the rigs that you decided that, I don't like those anymore. I don't think that was the best way to do it. Here's a good example. Here's one of the brass 3-way swivels, and they tend to twist up more in the water than using this style. But you can get these pretty much, anywhere, Walmart, whatever. And to get these types, you usually have to go online. I have not seen them in a sporting goods store yet, but your sporting goods stores still don't cater to catfishermen. Although things have changed drastically even in the last 10 years. I don't know how old Catfish Fever is, or how B&M has been around forever, but I don't know how long they've been making catfish rods. But even 10 years ago, the market was very boutique for catfish rods, and it's not like that anymore. There are a ton of companies that make catfish rods, Oh, you're still at the gym? Okay. So I can run it even longer. And I've said before, and my FibLink story just tells you that what I said is not entirely correct, but a lot of the Catfish gear has become commodity items. And what I mean by that is you got several manufacturers that their equipment is a little bit different, but it's not that much different. Um, you know, it's not like, a Zubco 33 versus an Abu Garcia 6500 C3, right? They're not that kind of big, humongous difference. Um, and one rod may say it's a medium heavy, and the other use pretty much a very similar blanket, call it a heavy. So there are the idiosyncrasies there, but for the most part, your Catfish rods are made with those double-footed, and always on casting anyway, even reinforced, thick stainless steel guides. No inserts, or if there are inserts, they're stainless steel that have been put on there. There's none of this ceramic nonsense anymore. They're using aluminum reel seats or nylon. Does it matter? Very rarely would it actually matter, but most of them are coming with the aluminum reel seats, and I think that's one of those bling factors that you have to. One did it, so everybody else had to do it. And then it comes down to finish and price. Maybe maybe it's color, maybe it's a fluorescent paint versus non-fluorescent, maybe it's a glow tip or glow tape around the eyes or things like that. But functionally, they're all a lot closer than they used to be. Let's see, reels. So the Abu Garcia 6500, this is actually a carp special, but same thing. This was the previous model carp special where it actually had the power handle. You want power handles, by the way. Those are kind of the gold standard for round bait casters for freshwater. There are a lot of companies that make round bait casters for freshwater, but somehow the Catfish community really likes these Ambassador 6500s or the 7000s. But you have a lot of other reels that have hit the market at a lower price point. Some are good, some the Cast King Rover. I'm not a huge fan, but you can get them bigger than the 6,000, the 7,000, 8,000. I don't remember. I think it goes up to at least a 9,000 size. So if you want more line capacity, you can do that. Whether or not it's going to be a smooth, different story. PC Fun, the Chaos XS50 it's a similar looking reel. A lot of similar styling. You got the two side pieces that come off, and that the center frame is just not that beefy on any of these. On the size 50, it's got the two little rivets that hold it to the reel foot to the reel. They look very similar. That's not to say that they're made out of the same quality parts. You can get ball bearings of different quality in the same size. They look alike, but one's going to have better longevity, the gears, and all that kind of fun stuff. But I'm really excited about a few different reels that Chaos has, or that PC Fun has, rather. So the Chaos Pro. So this is a 55, well, I'm sorry, this is $150+ reel. But the Chaos XS50 is $55-$60. The Pro is around 90, and it only comes in a size 50 for now anyway. But the frame is completely different. It looks more like the whatever the Bass Pro Shops, Cat Max. It has a similar frame to that. The way it's designed, it is beefy as can be. And to me, the gears look the same between the XS50 and the Pro 50. and it has the same number of bearings. However, when you look closer, two of the bearings on the XS50 are in the handle, like right here. Do you need bearings there? No. And it's something that reel manufacturers have been doing for years to increase the bearing count. So this one only has 6 bearings. Well, this one's got 10. I mean, if you just glued bearings right up here on top, it would be useless. They serve no purpose. But you could say, hey, it's got, So the 2 bearings that were in that knob have been removed. But it has the same bearing count. So one of them got moved to the spool shaft, and one of them got moved to the main shaft. So you've got more sturdiness there. Overall, it's a huge improvement in quality, in my opinion. Because how smoothly do you need this to spin, right? As long as it spins, you're good. I mean, it gets a little gritty in there. You take it apart, wash it, and all that. A plastic bushing there works fine. The other of the Alios reels. So they have the Alios 300, which is a disappointment to me. And the reason it's a disappointment is because it's not the 400. The 300 has less line capacity than the 400, but still a low-profile bait caster. I love low-profile bait casters. And the 400 has a bait clicker on it. So there's nothing bad about the 300 except that the 400 has more. Well, they have recently come out with a line counter version of the Alios 400. If you need a built-in line counter, they have that now. Do you need it? That's the question. Do you need it on all your reels? Probably not. But it is somewhat helpful. I think, if you're testing out casting distance for sure, pricing your casts, you've got a real-time kind of readout right in front of you. They're good for, if you mark on your depth finder, okay, the log pile's here and the boat is here, and that's 70 feet apart. You got to do the a squared plus b squared equals c squared nonsense to get what the length of your line needs to be as it hits the bottom. But you get it generally. You can get that real close, especially if you're in current and you're like letting line out. Then you go, oh, I'm right there at the edge. So that's nice. I'm real happy with a lot of the, I'll call it innovation, because to me the PC Fun KS XS50 was, I won't say it was a copy or a knockoff, but it was awful darn similar to the Ambassadors. And anyway, I like to see companies that are doing something different than just copying everyone else. And while they may, line counters are not new, right? Low profile bait casters aren't new. High capacity, low profile bait casters, there's not a lot of them out there. So this puts some more in that market. With the bait clicker, the features, I love it. Not gonna lie to you. Something I did want to talk about. So everybody probably knows by now. I won a couple of reels from Hitch by Hitch, and he put out a short today. God bless his heart. He went out and made like 30 hamburgers, and packed them up, put them in a cooler to hold the heat. Took a bunch of waters, took a bunch of chips, and put them in little baggies. And he went out and he fed the homeless. He would go to various places where he knew they hung out and like, hey, would you like a burger? And that is awesome. And I think about Memphis, and Ashley can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't really know where they hang out. So, of course, there's going to be some wandering downtown. You're going to have some at various exits on the expressway. But, which one are the actual homeless and which one are just the shysters makes it a little more difficult. But like when we went to Louisville, one thing that stuck out to me right off the bat, because we did stay downtown, was the number of homeless people. And, sleeping in doorways. I don't see that in Memphis. I just don't. Maybe I'm not looking in the right places. We were walking to her graduation. Uh, she was way ahead of us because she had to be there before we did. And as we're passing some bushes next to a building, a homeless guy walks out. I think he had just found a restroom back there. And no confrontations, none of that. Just it was surprising to me to see that many homeless people. Because when I lived in Dallas, I didn't see them. You'd see some, the onesie twosie, but not like I did in Louisville. And I don't know what it is. Anyway, so got 2 reels from Hitch. Sorry, just talking about homeless there for a minute. This is one of them. This is the Viper X1000. And to me, it's about a 500 size reel, maybe 750 size, but it's a little small for my for what I would choose. And then they have a 500, which has got to be tiny. And the reason being, on spinning reels, every time you coil off, you get a twist in your line. So larger diameter spool doesn't give you that problem. So I prefer a size 1000 in most reels. Now this is the 2000 size Carbon X. And the mono capacity, 8 pound, 120, 8 pound test, 120 yards. Okay. I don't know where to put this. I mean, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put either 4 pound mono or 10 pound braid on it. And it says for braid, it'll hold 150 yards of 15 pound. This is one of those reels I don't know what to do with. If I were going to use it, I am going to use it. And I do know what to do with it. So I'm not making sense. I don't know what to do with an 8 pound mono on a reel. For some reason, once you get past 4 pound mono, for panfish, the castability just isn't there. It's just not as good. So I wouldn't use an 8 pound test. So I'm going to have extra 4 pound test on here. And that's not a problem. It's a good size. It's a nice size. It's about maybe a little over a size 1000 in most brands. So I'm not unhappy with it in any stretch. And if you talk about good looking reels, so this one is kind of a matte black. It's got some shiny black on it. And then you got all the green accents, which are just, they're cute. A lot of relief cuts on the spool to help lighten it down. The Carbon X, even more of those cuts right here to lighten the weight. I haven't gotten this one spooled up yet. I'm going to spool it up, and I'm just real happy with it. I'm happy with a lot of what I've seen out of PC Fun. I've had some people that have used the Chaos XS and said, they lasted me a season and I wore them out because I go fishing that much and I catch that much. I don't know. I did have a warranty issue with PC Fun. Now, you're not going to get parts for them, okay? But I had a warranty issue, and normally they would just send you a new reel. In my case, I bought them off of Amazon, and they said, well, we don't have any stock of that reel on Amazon right now, so we will just give you a refund. And you can buy some more when you want, if you want to. Cool. So I like that. It is a risk that you run with any of these, I don't want to say off-brand, but the Chinese manufactured reels. Having said that, I was a little ticked off. I have a Shimano Stratic from 20 years ago. From 20 years ago. So you have to understand. I understand. It's 20 years. When I got back into fishing, because I took a hiatus, it's like, this one doesn't feel right. So I took it and had it cleaned. And even after cleaning, it would have when you're reeling, it would have a tough spot. I figured out that the spool shaft was bent. Not much bent, but a little bit bent. So I contacted Shimano. I was like, how do I get one of these? Like, oh, we don't have parts for that reel anymore. It's a 20-year-old reel. But what we've always been told is the reason that we buy from Shimano and Daiwa and Abu Garcia and those kind of brands, because, you can get parts forever. Well, no, you couldn't. It pissed me off. Am I right to be pissed off? No. 20-year-old reel. How long do I expect them to keep parts? But, so it's something to keep in mind when people say, well, I can get parts for this. Well, okay. For how long? And I would say that the ambassador hasn't changed a lot in many years. So that, for the round bait caster, that may be a better statement. But, the Stratic I had was like an F, maybe an H. I don't know. Anyway, they've gone through several iterations since then. A few different parts, a little different this, a little different that. Anyway, that being said. Now the Chaos Pro reel versus the Chaos XS. The clicker it's a different tone. I don't know if it's quieter or not, but it's a different tone and it doesn't resonate as well as the XS50. So I would love it if they found a way to change that, but whatever. Hooks is another one of those commodity items that with J hooks, it's not nearly as important that the hook be sharp out of the bag, out of the box, because they're easy to sharpen. Circle hooks are not really easy to sharpen. So if it doesn't have a good point on it out of the bag, it's crap. But for the most part, there are only so many companies out there that make hooks. And yes, there is a quality difference. Some may be sharpened better. These two hooks may have come off the same assembly line, and one of them got a grade A and one of them got a grade B, and so that's why they're different brands. It could be a number of different things. I have a problem paying $1 per hook because I'm cheap. And I've talked about a lot of stuff like these Abu Garcias. They're 150. I got them for like 60 or 70 on sale. I buy my stuff on sale anytime I can. So when you see me with good equipment, it's not because I went out and spent an arm and a leg. It's because I found a good deal on it. Anyway, so Ashley is still with the gym. Well, she may not still be at the gym. I don't know. It's up to her. She's the hottie. She gets to do what she wants. Put that over there. Go back to tying up some more rigs. And I've talked about these in the past. Okay. You really want these. These are Danco Ultimate Braid Scissors. They're usually $3 or $4 a pair. Black Friday or Cyber Monday, they do a half price off everything on their site. Definitely look them up. I like their pliers. But these I love. So these are not, these are not pliers that you're going to winch with. But they cut mono, they cut braid. So you get the cutters back here. You get grippers here. You have a little split ring piece at the front. But they're good quality cutters. I went looking for them and they were out of stock on Danco's site because I was like, I'm getting to where I can't find all of, I'm missing some of my pairs and I want one everywhere. They were out of stock and I was like, oh, please tell me they're not discontinuing them. So you know what I did? Found a place with them in stock and I bought 10 of them. That's how much I like these. And it's not because they're going to wear out. It's because I'm going to lose them or I'm going to give them to people. They are just nice pliers. Danco, D-A-N-C-O. Again, not sponsored. Even asked them if they would be interested, and they basically told me, in very nice words, how hard I should go pound sand. Because they have relationships with people like Blue Gabe that, are big channels, and I'm not. And I recognize that. I don't expect. But I will approach companies that I like their products. And for anybody that wants to get into sponsorships and stuff like that, use the product first. Make sure it's a good product before you start taking freebies in exchange for this much advertising for them. If you don't believe in the product and you sell me something, you tell me that something is a great product and I buy it and I find out it's crap, me and you're done. There are too many shills out there wanting to be influencers, and they don't care what they're shilling. As long as they get something for free, they will tell you anything they need to tell you. And then even worse are the wannabe influencers, the people who haven't made it yet, but are still pimping products because they want to be a paid influencer for that company. I see it in the kayak world a lot. I mean, these guys are talking about how this is the greatest kayak, and it's like, okay, it's a good kayak. But don't say that it is the only kayak anybody should consider because it has this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem. Like, well, nobody makes a perfect product. Well, but you don't ever talk about the negatives. If you're going to, if you want me to trust you with my money, giving me advice on what to buy, I want the whole story. And in my specific case, it's Old Town Kayaks. And when the Sportsman line was released, I don't know everything behind it, but a lot of people got free kayaks. And when new kayaks come out from them, they get more new kayaks. And I'm not going to say that I'm the biggest fan of kayak Catfish, but he got one of those. And he did a review, and he earned a lot of respect from me on that review. He called out problems that everybody knows about. For one, the rails that they use on them for mounting, the mounting rails, mounting tracks, are made out of plastic. And for many people, that's not a horrible problem. He's like, I got catfish. I'm fishing for catfish. These need to be able. I don't trust them with my expensive catfish rods. I don't want to lose a fish. I don't want to lose a rig or a combo, right? The cup holder, for whatever reason, you're going to end up with an inch of water in the bottom of these cup holders every single time because of how they're. Sorry. I was tying my knot and it slipped on my fingers slipped. Try again. But the way they're designed is they don't have a hole in the bottom. They have a cut. So say this is the entire cup holder. They have a cut about down to here and it drains to the outside, which is great. But all this, as soon as you hit a wave of any sort, it's got water in it and it's staying. It can't come out. And it's been like that for 4 years, and they've not done anything to make a design change. I realize making a new mold is expensive, but this is something where they could take a brass fitting that has screw threads on it, and then like a little cut across the top so you could use a flathead screwdriver, and you could put a barb on the other end, put a piece of tubing on it. So you put that in, you screw it, you drill a hole in the bottom, you screw that in there, and then you take the other end of it and drain it into the battery box area, which has a scupper plug, or even into the cockpit, which has scupper plugs. So any water that comes in there, because your feet are going to get wet in a kayak. That's how it happens. That's just how it works. Hey, Liverpool, how you doing, Terry? Good to see you. Good to see you. But that's something that they could have retrofitted after the fact. And, so every new one that comes out, they do that too in the factory. But they haven't. And there's another big one. I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. And, I mean, they're not huge issues. They're just issues that a lot of people would refuse. They just didn't acknowledge them. They're like, oh, well, it does this. Here's all the great parts about it. Don't be that person. That's all I'm saying. And still have 13 people in here. Bless each and every one of you. So, Terry, I'm just sitting here tying some catfish rigs and running my mouth about things that don't matter in life. I'm trying to get watch hours. Not that I don't like hanging out with you guys. Just that tying rigs can be kind of boring to watch. So for any of you guys that, yeah, anyway, if you don't know Crappie Man jigs, go check him out. Crappie Space Man Space Jigs. I think there's a space between Crappie and Man. He makes this is gonna blow your mind, crappie jigs, and he'll do some live streams tying jigs. And you want to see the night ones. The ones during the day are not as entertaining. And he's funny because he has fun with it. So like if he gets a super chat, he's got this button thingamajiggy. He plays music and puts on his shades and does a little chair dance for himself. And I think there's maybe some disco lights. He's really he's put some time and energy into making something like this entertaining. Terry, I am in Memphis, Tennessee. Come for the music and stay because they stole your car. I fish for panfish and for catfish in and around the Memphis area. I'll also go after skipjacks and white bass and striped bass and whatever I can get, honestly. And I also do some saltwater fishing down in Pensacola, Florida. And I can tell you right now, the videos that do the best are the ones in Pensacola. Even if you aren't catching anything, the beach is right there. I did see that Ashley was done. Thank you, Scotty. She's got to get back here. She's got to get a shower, and she'll stick her head in the door when she gets here. But I appreciate you keeping me informed on that. Yeah, we're going to go to dinner, and I've already had my shower and all that fun stuff, so all I have to do is put on real pants. Or actually, not even real pants, just shorts. And, do my hair. And I'll be ready to go. So Terry, I'm making 3-way rigs. Yes, it's a lot of tagging to throw away, and yeah, I know it. And one of the reasons I like the Suffix Superior, it's made by Rapala, whatever, however you pronounce that, and which I didn't know when I started using it. I just knew that I liked it. It's not quite as wiry as the Trilene Big Game. It's got good strength to it, and the 1 pound spools are about $32 on Amazon. So there you go. So I don't mind if I, use a little extra line. Hey, Commander Pug, you're back. Well, that's good to see you. Glad to have you back. Hope everything is going great for you. Hope that the weekend is treating you well and that you are finding a fabulous list of things to do on this fine, fine weekend. It is hotter than monkey's butt here in Memphis. And I think I seriously had this thought because I do not like the heat. I do not like sweating, getting nasty. Probably catfishing may not be the right thing for me. Hey, 11111111111. Hey, from Russia. I was thinking, what I could do, which is overkill by a long shot, is get one of those portable generators and get one of them big giant fans. I'm like, hey, I can get out in 90-degree weather with that crap blowing on me. May not be the greatest thing for live streams with microphones, but whatever. Oh, Florida is just amazing. See, I'm not, I've never, that's even longer than I meant for it to be. We can fix that. My joke about whiskey is, you sit there and you go, oh, tears start running. Smooth. Yeah, that's how I feel about whiskey. That's not to say that all of it's bad. It's just not my. I'm not a connoisseur of any of that kind of stuff. I know good from bad, but like Ashley's parents came back from France with a bottle of nice wine from France, and you know, was sharing it with the kids, and they're like, "Would you like any?" I'm like, "I would, but you are wasting it on me because you don't really have to get much better than Mad Dog 2020 for me." And you know, especially if it's a dry wine, I don't. I'm a sweet wine kind of guy. Um, you know, it's not that I don't appreciate the gesture. It's just that it's it's like buying nice shoes and a purse for a pig. Hey, Danimals, good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. Hey, fish community, where have you been, my bro? And it's your 45th birthday. That's you. I don't want to say that you're like 10 years older than me, but you're not 10 years older than me. You're not even older than me. Dan, okay, you got to quit. You got to quit disappearing. And I tell you that, and I'll say things like, you know, I don't know if it's seasonal depression, which is none of my business. I don't know if it's that life has gotten busy, which I know it does, and all these kind of stuff. Man, you gotta hang out more often, bro. I mean, you know, I miss you. Miss seeing you around. And I was even there when you had the meltdown on your live stream. And don't get me wrong, you're not the only person that's ever done that, and you took it down, which was very smart. And I understand, you know, emotions get to you. And this was a long time ago, folks. This is nothing new. So I tell you that, man, we're glad to have you. Always, always. Well, I think you're kind of like me in that regard, Animals. There's only you have a handful of close friends, and I don't think you let a lot of people get close. I don't, because you know you've learned. Um, you know, I'm one of those people that kind of related but not related is you know I'm one of those people that I'm a very giving person. Um, Life has been good to me, and I like to share with people who are less fortunate. But then you know you find somebody that takes advantage of others and asks them for money and gives them this sob story, and then you know everybody has given money to this person and tried to help them out, and they either fall right back into the situation they were in, or they take more than they need and spend it on vacations and such. And you're like, well, you know, if you really needed money that bad, this, you know, if somebody helps you out, my first step is, you know, if I had asked people for money, is I would be, even if it was a donation, I would be trying to give money back and go, look, I've got more than I need. You helped me through this big issue that I had, but you know, I don't deserve to profit off of it. But anyway, you had your 15th birthday. That's I'm definitely older than you. And you know, Dan, I think part of the problem is, you know, you get people that want to pretend that they're your bestie when they're not. And you know, we've all seen it, and I think we've all fallen victim to it at some point. Just be careful who you choose to let get close to you. Is the only advice I can give you. And even then, somebody's going to let you down and start the whole mental anguish process over again. You're like, you know, I thought I learned, right? Well, Dan, see, to me, that's I won't say funny. Um, the fact that they have your number. Funny is not the right word. It's ironic's not the right word. Very, very, very few people have my phone number. And I have very few people's phone number because, like I say, I'm kind of a standoffish guy. You don't see it from my live streams because I won't shut up, but I'm actually quite shy in person. And the Scotty is a good example. Scotty's one of those people that I've got his number and he's got my number in, and he reaches out to me. I don't tend to reach out to people very often. I'm kind of like a no news is good news kind of person. If I need something, I'll call you. If I have a question, I mean, not like if I need, money or something, but just, anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't have, I'm in all of Cindy's lives and I don't have her number. I don't think I even have Jody's number, and I've been friends with her for a long time. I mean, Messenger, yes, but not phone number. And yeah. So I don't have a lot of people's phone numbers. Scotty, I already gave you a reel, bro. And if I had known you were coming to the gathering, I mean, you didn't know you were coming to the gathering, so there's that. Yeah. Oops. I put these in the wrong bags. My bad. My problem is I have gear acquisition syndrome. The only person I know that has it worse than me is Caden Firegamer. That kid comes up with new stuff all the time. And there are two choices when you keep coming up with new stuff. You either have to get rid of some of what you got, or they call hoarders out to come do a documentary on you. Rods, reels, and tackle. Yeah, Dan, I mean, I've noticed you not being around, but, I also know that, you've got a son and you've got, I think you have a farm area, or your parents, or your dad does. And I know that there's a lot that goes on with your family, and that your work can be cyclical because of the type of work you do. Sometimes you've got to work when you can because the weather allows it. So, yeah. Javier, no, I don't like kissing your mother, but thanks for asking. I appreciate the fact that your mother let you have her phone, and that she thinks that you're, looking up ways to not be an antisocial moron. But does she have any idea that you really are just an idiot? Hey, Joshua, good to see you, my friend. You came into a live stream of somebody you don't know, and you thought you'd troll. I understand. You get bored, you want to troll, I get that. But you put no effort into it, which is sad. I mean, if you put this little effort into cooking fries at at McDonald's, none of us are ever going to get fries. Look at me, bro. I need fries. So perhaps, and I don't want to tell you how to live your life, do your business, but perhaps, use GPT and figure out a good troll for a fishing channel. Do you like farts in your mouth? Just does not qualify. And the lack of effort is insulting. It is insulting. And I mean, I don't know if you were hoping to get some really outrageous response to that. You're like, oh, hey, let me see if I can make this fat, bald old guy mad. It's more pity. I mean, I know why your dad left for smokes and never came home. And it wasn't because he didn't love your mama. It's because of you. You. Yeah. I really feel bad for the man. He tried. He tried to raise you right. But then you turned him to alcoholism and he ran away. And now he's out there with some beautiful woman raising somebody else's kids because you were too much of a failure. I did not say schnapps. Bought a set of 19-inch Volk racing wheels with tires, 2 brand new motorcycle helmets, Fly Racing and Nolan, and a Lifetime portable basketball goal. Oh boy, that's a lot of stuff. So Scotty, what do you need? Because one day we're going to fish together. It may not be soon. It may not be in this lifetime. It may not be before Javier Pachenko learns how to tie his own shoes. I mean, it could be a long time. I'm just saying. 1-900 Mid-South. Thank you, actually. Nobody wants to pay money for that. I am sitting here looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. As best as I can count, just from a distance, 20. Is one over here? No. 20 rods. And these are not the ones I fish with regularly. I mean, some of it's surf rods, some of it's lower end stuff, some of it's no. That's rods. And then hey, gorgeous. Then we got reels. Now, then I got Tsunami Spear Level. These are $20 combos. I got this Ozark Trail, I think, size 6,000. Again, $20, $30 combo. Got one of these Ozark Trails saltwater reels. Nice reel. Got another one of those. I got an ugly stick reel in here, like the one I gave you. Yeah. And I've got some of these Fluger President reels. I got a Dio in here. I got a Shimano Sienna. And these are just reels that, because they're sitting in the box. I hope that tells you how much I'm using them. And that's just these. So, when I tell you I got crap. Some of it's not great. So like the $20 reel combos, those were when the first thing I bought when I went surf fishing. What did you delete? I bet it was good. Whoops, come back here. Oh. Javier, I told you I don't like kissing your mom. So the fact that you posted the same thing over and over again, what that does tell me is that you're just a piece of shit going from one channel to another to see how big of a giant asshole you can be. Dan, go ahead and you can kick him. I don't care. Just kick his dumb ass. Javier, if you ever... There we go. Oh, no. Don't time him out for 300 seconds. Kick his ass. Where's the block from channel? That's the one you want. There you go. Hide from channel. There you go. But Javier, what I would do is if time machines ever become a thing, please ask your mother to go back in 1 to 9 months before you were born and glue a nickel between her legs. So nobody has to deal with your shit. Because you, sir, are a piece of shit. As they said in Psalms 34:8, fucketh thou. Asshole. Anyway, sorry your mother was such a whore that she was back behind the bus stop, and if she would have just stuck to giving blowies and handies, we wouldn't have you, and oh well, life sucks. Jackass. Well, Ashley is back. I didn't notice if she had showered. Oh, yeah, it's 7 o'clock. We got to go. If she hadn't showered, she better get to it. We're going to go get some dinner, and we're going to go out and watch a band called 901 Rocks. They're a cover band, so it's not like they have new music. But if you find them on YouTube, I don't know if they're on there or not. They're really good, and if you happen to be local to Memphis, they're really good to check out. Their lead singer has an incredible voice. Most of the band is my age, but she's like 25, which is still kind of over the hill in band years, but she has got a just a killer voice. She really does a good job. Joshua, nice one. Nice one. See, now that's a good insult. That's a good troll. I like that. It's so much better than this garbage. You drink diarrhea. Yes, I do. It's delicious. You should try it sometime. Oh, wait. You're busy eating Tide Pods. My bad, bro. My bad. Got yelled at your girlfriend's mom and you didn't even do anything. Well, you said you're 15? I believe. Commander Pug, you deserved it. Because if you're 15 and you got a girlfriend, we ain't stupid. You can be polite and smile and be all chivalrous in front of us. We ain't stupid. We just hope and pray that we aren't as smart as we think we are. So, with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. If you get bored and want to give me some extra watch hours, there's a great thing called the playlist, live stream playlist. It will last for years and years and years and years and years. I'm the king. Well, if I'm the king, man, something's wrong in your world. Thanks, Scotty. Appreciate you. Hey, H. Osborne, I appreciate you. Appreciate you so much. Dan. Okay, now that's kind of funny, Dan, because that does sound like something I would say. That truly. I ain't sending Scotty nothing. He got to come fishing with me. Oh, and the box of reels I showed you does not include the 3 reels that are sitting on my desk. So, yeah, there's no shortage. Yeah, so, if I can help you out and get rid of stuff, because I don't like selling stuff. I hate it. I swear you could go on Facebook Marketplace and offer a $100 bill for $50 and some jackass would offer you 25. It is what it is. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you next time. Have a good evening. And if you haven't subbed to folks like Fun Fishing Adventures, Danimal, if he ever puts out any more videos, let's see what else we got in here that I love and honor and cherish. And Cindy was in here. I remember that. I think Jody was in here. Fishing Hoosier. So, the Fishing Hoosier up there. You got Adventure America, Yak's Fishing Adventures, Fat Cat, Fishing Fever. Plenty of folks. Scroll back in the chat. You will see a ton of great channels that you can subscribe to that are much better looking and way the hell more entertaining than I am. We'll see you next time, folks. Oh, let me make sure there's one more. That's a long name. Let me screenshot that. If I can figure out how to do it on this. I'm back. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next time.